always be in remembrance of each and every last one of you. Tomorrow is not promised. Rodney, you remember Yana Evans?
Yep,
You know she passed from COVID,
I know it. Yep.
and we've had in our program 3 people who have left here, and it's becoming so real. It really starts to provide a better framework for what I should be privy to and aware of. While we're trying to be about this business thing on the spiritual sense, we have to stay rooted and grounded. Because tomorrow ain't promised, and God's plan is the ultimate plan. Well,
Hmm.
anyway, enough for the church. No more church. Let's go to work. So I'd love to hear from you, Miss Tanisha, first. You had a check-in. I want to know about your products and services. I gave you all week 1 homework assignment. I don't have anybody on my group here to defend what happened in our one-on-one. So I'd love to hear what you were able to unearth. Tanisha, I cannot, you're not Tanisha.
Everybody's having technical problems this
Yeah,
morning.
right. Rodney, it makes me think, why do I have this office again? Why am I sitting here? Well, let's let Tanisha get her technology worked out, and we'll come to Miss Brenda, who has finally figured out her technology. So, Brenda, were you able to connect with Rodney?
I was. I was.
Let's hear about what we learned about your homework assignment at least.
Okay. We you it says what are the products and services that we offer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we service a full assortment of linen and decor for all occasions. We've covered such events as open houses, weddings, baby showers, and various numerous events of church events.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've done that, and I've had this experience for quite some time, for at least 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we've done quite a few events in the area.
Tell me about your frequency, because that was one of the questions when I asked about the products. On the homework, it actually says frequency, right? We want to know, and I know because of COVID, the frequency is probably somewhat less consistent, but I'm also interested in revenue around those products. The reason that we start there is so we can understand building your balance sheet and your future financials. As we figure out what barriers or hurdles or changes we need to manipulate, it helps us to understand some of the legwork that needs to happen.
Right. Well, definitely COVID, COVID being present at the time, it has slowed down quite a bit. Like I said, I had events this summer. I had a few open houses, weddings, and different occasions that I was supposed to cover, but due to COVID and everything being closed down, that definitely slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was able to be of a service is during funeral repasses.
Mm.
So we've had people that passed, of course, some family members, different ones, very close to family, that passed during this year, um, during due to COVID and different things like that. But we were able to provide service for those events. Um, and with the definitely with the cost of everything, um, with things that's happening, I've kind of taken on a little bit of the cost, and we kind of curbed a little bit of the cost because we do understand that this is a very trying time,
Sure.
um, very, very difficult time for people. These deaths that came up due to COVID were definitely very sudden and
Mm-hmm.
unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was we do sympathize with that. Um, and I understand, we don't try to rob nobody. Even, I'm very cost efficient. I don't try to rob anyone, but at the same time, I am sympathetic to the needs of the people. And with things that, like I said, the events that we've covered, I covered a very close family member, 10-month-old baby that
Jesus.
got hit by a car and killed. and we did the repass for that baby, and that was one of the most hardest things that I've had to do in this, in this line of business since we,
Mm-hmm.
you know, adults and stuff, people that live full lives, you kind of expect some things. Some people have some pre-existing conditions. You knew they were gonna kind of go, some terminal stuff, but a 10-month-old baby, yeah, but we
Plans
were
for
able to,
that. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but we were able to cover that during this time. And this happened also during the COVID, and it wasn't anything related to the COVID. He got
Mm-hmm.
hit by a vehicle. So it was very hard, but we were able to pull it off. It was, very successful.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. Rodney, were you able to conduct a SWOT analysis on her based on what you learned?
Yeah. Um, what I found her strengths to be is her experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go over a couple
Sure.
from it. I haven't gone over it with her yet.
Oh, well, never
Opportunities.
mind. Never mind. Let's hold off then, because I want you to talk to her first.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, good. So after going through your products and stuff, the intent is, see, we get to be objective. You had the homework of writing out your products and services, your frequency, possible contracts, things like that. Our job is to not be your cheerleaders, but to assess you, to assess gaps in your space. We are here to guard against anything that would make you unprofitable or make you, in my own words, chase down the rabbit hole with, a lot of people get to chasing after stuff and it's the wrong stuff, right? So Rodney and I are going to guard against making sure you don't find yourself in a bad situation chasing the wrong things. And I think what I heard Brenda say is, though she's been an event planner for a lot of years and has a lot of experience, she was able to retool and reposition her business. Not that she wanted to start broadcasting that I'm here to help you with your repass funeral arrangements, but she's in the space because there's opportunity in the space. It doesn't mean it's going to be her whole business, but it is where she is right now. All right, Miss Tanisha, your turn. Oh no, we still can't hear you. Everything was working so well. I could hear you so loud and clear before. All right, we're gonna go to Devontae and come back to Tanisha. Mr. Walkout, how you doing?
Good, you?
Pretty good. Can we hear a little bit about your homework assignment, your products and services? We want to know about frequency, contracts, what your
Can you
current
hear me now?
revenue look like. Yeah, Tanisha, we can hear you. I'll come right back
Oh,
to
you
you.
can?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'll come right back to you. All right, Devontae.
Yeah, so when it come down to the contracts, like basically like if I already got them or possible contracts that I could get or whatnot, or basically that's what you're saying.
I mean, when I say contracts, I know for a fact that you've got some roadside assistance as a preferred vendor. That's a contract, right? That means somebody's going to refer the business to you. You may have a contract with MTA. You may have a contract with the school system. Just anything that means it's got repetitive revenue and is not a one-time or one-off situation are referred to as contracts. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm contracted. I'm contracted with Allstate, and they're contracted with like a lot of whole other people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like when it come down to contracts, I'm already contracted with like every like big major
Insurance company. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the frequency of the work though? How frequently, though you're set up as a preferred vendor, though you're on their network, their referral network, how frequently are you monetizing that connection? How many opportunities occur in a week, in a month, a day, around those contracts? That's what I want you to document.
I would say in a day, I would say between like 5 and 10, sometimes more, sometimes less,
Okay.
sometimes more. But even like during this COVID coronavirus stuff, it's like what I'm starting to notice is it ain't really like it ain't really affecting my job like that. I mean, I make sure I make
Right,
sure I,
long cars on the road, you got work. That's right. Okay.
yeah, but I make sure I wear a mask and take all the precautions and wash my hands and stuff like that. But it only like took a toll on my business like at the very beginning for like probably like a good month. But after that it got back to normal and
Okay.
everything. But that's because roadside assistance is on demand. It's go no matter what happened, people gonna need roadside assistance.
Long as they're driving, they're gonna need it. So tell me, can you break down roadside assistance? Give me the categories under roadside assistance so we can do a little check mark. So is that lockouts, flat tires, battery charge? What are your services, product services?
I do tire changes, jump starts, key lockouts, gas delivery, and right now them the only ones I do. I mean, I actually like sometimes like if they need like battery changes and stuff like that, I'll change that battery for them too. Like like if they prefer it, and then I also go above and beyond if they like, let's say that they busy, they at work or something, and they don't have time to go get a tire, I'll go get them a tire, bring it to them also. And that's actually what kind of motivated me to start a tire shop.
Right.
Because a lot of people want me to go get a tire for them and put it on. So
Okay.
I was thinking to myself, why not start a tire shop that I can go to my own shop and get a tire and bring it to them for?
Okay, cool. That helps me a lot, Devontae. What I want to know also though is if you're tracking the frequency of those. So for instance, there's a mobile auto repair company in Detroit called 4Rs. And 4Rs is a actual master mechanic, and he's got a mobile unit, almost like what you see a Matco truck. So there are certain things he can do directly on the road. I want you to be able to itemize what your products or services are, and I want you to be able to say, this week I had 4 tire changes. This week I had 4 lockouts. This week I had, and I want you to put a line right next to it with a dollar amount, right? So the number is the frequency, the service or product is the tire change, and the revenue that I'm looking for is going to tell me how much you charge for it. And then contractually, it'll tell me if it came from Allstate or if they paid out of pocket. You see where I'm going with that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right, because this is what we're trying to flesh out. I want to know roadside assistance. Okay, great. But okay, did we charge the battery? Did we do a lockout? What's the number of occasions these things occurred? What's the amount of money we brought in from those things? Were they contract related, meaning I got the call because I'm in the Allstate network, or is it because I'm marketing on social media, or is it because my radio broadcast is plugging me? I need you to understand how those things are intertwined.
Okay, yeah. So you basically want to know like the amount of money I made today, this week, and how many services and stuff, and whether it was through contracts or my personal service and whatnot.
Yeah, because that's how Rodney is going to be able to assess you. He needs to see your operation in motion, so he can pull back the layer.
Okay, yeah, I wrote.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do for him is I'm gonna put together an Excel sheet listing those items to make it real easy for him to do that.
Okay.
But in our meeting, we got away from the emergency road services. It sounded to me like his greatest interest is in the tire shop.
Check that out. See,
and getting that off the ground.
How about that? So Rodney's assessment is your roadside might be your secondary business, and your primary business might be the tire support. So those are the things that I want. Somebody was saying something.
It's basically like my roadside assistant. It's kind of like, I would say that's kind of developed. Like that's why we came to that conclusion, because like my roadside assistant is kind of like develop develop a lot. But like my tire shop, and I know a lot about like the roadside assistance and stuff, and we just came to that conclusion because right now I feel like right now it's more important. Like the tire shop is more important because I don't know too much. I never had a building like with a business or whatnot.
Okay,
So
cool.
that'd be more important for me to work on right now.
Right. So that's why you got Rodney in step. You should be reaching out to him and touching him frequently because what I don't want you to do is run real fast and then we connect again and find out that there was a hurdle. Because see, what I'm trying to get down to is where am I making the most money and how do I maximize those earnings from the revenue side? So yeah, I got 7 calls, but if the calls are only $25, I don't know the price. If there were 7 calls and $25 a piece, well, I didn't even make $200. But if I sold 3 tires and I sold them at $50 a pop, and I never left my spot, I made $150. Let me think on this a little bit, right? So I need Rodney to be in a position to massage and assess and be analytical so that we can help structure your next spaces. That's why for each of you, he'll do a SWOT analysis like I did for Deshauna. Miss Tanisha.
Yes.
Hey, we can hear you. So what? tell me about your engagement this week.
Okay, so I'm doing these medical scrubs. Well, not just scrubs, it's apparel.
Okay.
Shirts, pants. I want to bring back dresses for the ladies, like not necessarily
Nurse uniforms, like yeah.
Yeah, but also I want to do accessories. I want to have like bonnet and face masks to match the scrubs. I want back braces because some healthcare workers need, like, especially nurses and assistants, we need those back braces. So I want the back brace. Customized transfer belts. We need transfer belts to use for our patients to transfer them back and forth. So we can get some of those customized with blessed hands on them. We'll be popping. Also want stethoscope covers for the stethoscope. Everything labeled blessed hands because that's the name of my business.
Okay.
So yeah, and they say for the physical location, for the availability, like this stuff will be available everywhere in like medical offices, like doctors' offices, nursing homes, hospitals, physical therapists. They can.
So those are your clients. Those are your clients, but that's not where they're going to get the product from. They're probably going to get the product online from you, right?
Oh yeah. Okay.
So when we talk about the physical or the significant qualifier, we're talking about where density occurs. Your density is going to happen in an online store, but you just told me succinctly, I heard you say all of your clients, all the customers, all the targets that you plan to sell that product or those products to. So that's great that you know that. Now, have you guys narrowed down your sourcing agreements? Are we going to have to source from China or are we going to have to source from someplace in the United States? Are you still in that discovery? Okay.
We talked about that, and he wasn't too sure about getting materials and stuff from overseas with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
So I guess we probably try to look at manufacturer companies in the USA.
Yeah, you can still get things from China, but if it used to take 8 to 10 weeks, it's probably now taking 3 months to maybe even 4 or 5 months to get a product. So you still probably get the best unit cost from China. It's still cheaper to look at China from a labor standpoint, but it's about market demand. Nobody is waiting for scrubs I want to wear today if I can't get them until February, right?
Right.
So those are things that you need to take into consideration. And Warren will have to pop back to me with a SWOT analysis on where you stand and how that works. I'm not going to review anybody on my team because they're not here. So
I got a question about that.
Sure.
So like, not a question, but like a statement about that.
Sure.
But like what you say? You said something about on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I'm starting to notice that. That's the reason why I that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to like open a tire shop and stuff. And that's why I started doing battery changes too, because a lot of people, like when they like stranded like with a flat tire, they they don't be wanting to wait. You know, they
Of course.
to be honest, to be honest with you, they don't even be wanting to even go to the tire shop. They be wanting to like to put their spare on and them go to their next location, they next destination, because people busy. And then like they ask me if I could go get it and bring it to them and put it on. Like, you know, so
That's
yeah,
customized service right there. That's
very,
something different.
yeah, that on demand stuff is real.
It is. It
Yeah.
truly is. It truly is.
And
And you need to
they
be,
had paid money, and people will pay that extra amount of money if they can get their stuff fixed right then and there, and they
that's what
can
I'm
go on
talking
with their
about.
life.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. See, Brenda just repositioned her
Yeah.
business because yes, they want fine linens, they want wonderful decor, but at a repast, you know, you're trying to make this send-off look really nice and memorable and all the rest of it. It's the same modality, it's just a different audience, right? So when we talk about Tanisha's world, Tanisha could sell her products not only to individuals who are in the healthcare industry, but she could sell them to school systems that train, you know, CNAs and all the rest of it. And they could just outfit their whole student body with uniforms with her line of business. So good stuff. Rodney and I probably need to have another session, another meeting offline about how we see your SWOTs, because your SWOT analysis determines from this week how we move forward in supporting you on what your next steps are. So documenting and giving me the feedback helps me understand what we should be doing next. I want to also caution you all that you probably want to get your books sooner than later, because there's a lot of homework in those books. And like I told you, every week I'm gonna give you a homework assignment, and then I expect you to be able to report out to us how far you've progressed in that homework assignment. And it helps me to understand whether or not you're really connected to this and whether or not the content that we deliver makes a lot of sense to you. I want to jump over to a really quick video. It's a 7-minute video about how to perform a SWOT analysis for people who are not business savvy or having a business degree or being in corporate America. You may not totally understand the analysis. So I'm going to play a really quick video, I think, that does a really good review on how to do your own analysis. And then we'll jump into the business model canvas, which is the next item we need to cover.
Hi, I'm Erica Olson. Today's whiteboard session is on putting together a SWOT analysis for your organization. SWOT simply stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the purpose of a SWOT analysis is to create a synthesized view of your current state. And great planning, whether it's strategic planning, marketing planning, operational planning, you name it, great planning starts with an understanding of where you are today, confronting the brutal facts, as Jim Collins says, so you can build a future. And a SWOT analysis is a great way to capture and frame up what your current state is. So I'm going to talk to you about what it is in a little more detail, how to put it together, and then quickly how to put it to use. Let's jump in. Strengths. We build on our strengths. Weaknesses, we shore them up. The right-hand side of your 2x2 matrix, which is your SWOT, is your internal perspective. On the other side, we have our opportunities, which we invest or capitalize in, and our threats, which we monitor. External perspective. Tip number 1, do not confuse your internal and external perspective. We're looking for a holistic view of your organization, and it's important to be really clear about what we can impact and directly influence, internal, and what we can influence but not directly impact, external. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So this is the structure for your SWOT. When you're done with it, you'll have maybe 10 to 15 bullet points in each of the 4 quadrants. So how do you figure out what goes in those quadrants? The simple thing to do is to hop into a room with a whiteboard and brainstorm with your planning team and fill out your SWOT. Taking it to the next level is bringing data into your SWOT analysis. There's tons of data in organizations. Absolutely, go pull in some data so you have more of a data-based view of what's going on. Let's talk about those data sources. Internal. Get perspective from executive board, if you have them, partners, vendors. gather that through one-on-one interviews. Employees, employee perspective is super important to help understand what's working and what's not working. Customers, same thing. You cannot have a great SWOT analysis without understanding what your customers are saying about what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. And last, but certainly not least, pull in some of your key performance indicators, or very simply, your current performance over the last year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever makes the most sense. If you're a little pressed for time, make sure you pull in your employee perspective and your customer perspective. On the external side, same thing. What are your information sources? I like to think about external data kind of in concentric circles, starting from the outside. Megatrends, those are those really big things that are impacting most all organizations across our country or potentially across the globe. Aging baby boomers, growth of millennials, that type of thing. Industry. So your industry has tons of information. There's tons of information from industry associations, and industries have all kinds of trends that impact organizations. So check out your industry association for reports on potential opportunities, threats, and trends in your area. Coming in a little bit closer, your market. The market comes in two flavors: your geographic market that you serve, or your target markets that you're serving. Data sources include your economic development organization for current market information, and then Census Bureau for target market type information. Competitors, everybody has competitors. Understand what your top 3 competitors are doing. Super important to have a holistic view of your external perspective. Same thing, if you're pressed for time, make sure you get industry information and make sure you bring competitive information into your SWOT. If you have a little bit of budget, you can buy reports that will make this that much richer and that much more data-based. If you don't, go with the ideas that I already shared with you. Great, so you have all this information, what do you do with it? Synthesize it into 10 to 15 themes, like I mentioned before, group them up, sub-bullet point them, that type of thing, such that you have a pretty well-rounded SWOT. It's nice for it to fit on one page. Like I said, you want to be able to see your current state, one page, 11-point font, not 7, so dial it down. There's always more weaknesses than there are threats, so take that as a rule of thumb, but not, it doesn't have to be perfect. Here's tip number 2. Do not confuse weaknesses and opportunities, and this happens all the time. And when that happens, your SWOT falls apart. Let me explain why with an example. One theme that might come out of your work is improving communications. Improving communication sounds like an opportunity, right? But it's not, because our external perspective is things we can influence but don't directly control, and we control communication. It's more like a weakness, but it's not phrased like a weakness. So it needs to live in this quadrant, and if you have a lot of things like that, you might consider renaming this quadrant areas of improvement. And if you do that, then just make sure that all the bullet points in this area are phrased that same way: improve communications. If you want to keep it as weakness, change it to lack of communication, and then you have a statement that sounds like weakness. So why is this important? When you process out your SWOT, and we have a whole video on that, so go check that out, but really quickly, when you process out your SWOT, you're going to want to start with opportunities, and this is your growth area. Planning is about growth. If you have stuff in here that isn't about growth, the SWOT doesn't work. So, opportunities or growth goals, that's what you do with those. Threats, most of the time you don't turn into goals, you merely watch them. Maybe an initiative or two, but most of the time you're watching them. Under over weaknesses, these are going to turn into your operational and people goals and initiatives. And last, but certainly not least, your strengths are a source of your competitive advantage, or a starting point to identify them. We have a whole video on that, so check that out to identify your competitive advantages. Last tip, whatever you do not go through the exercise of putting your SWOT together and then not use it. We see that all of the time. Great planning starts with understanding where you are today. This is how you do that. Make sure you use it to build out your goals and your competitive advantages. That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, so how many of you are familiar with the concept of a SWOT analysis? You guys familiar with a SWOT analysis? Anybody?
Not familiar with it, not very familiar with it, but some of the things that she was talking about, I understand a little better.
Okay, great. What about you, Tanisha? You familiar with a SWOT analysis?
No, haven't heard of it, anything of it until now.
All right,
Wow,
that's
the-
fine.
you know.
Well, Rodney, I'm so jealous, Rodney. Dang it, I'm jealous. Devontae, what about you? Have you heard of a SWOT analysis?
No, but like I am like familiar with a lot of stuff that she was talking
You're
about.
saying, right. So you are familiar with the concept, maybe not the lingo. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna do a SWOT analysis on this board, and I tried to structure the second screen so you can see it fairly well. And I'm gonna do a SWOT analysis on the Flint Small Business Initiative. And look, I didn't dress up for y'all. I didn't do my hair, and I ain't studying you. It is what it is. So when I start off with the SWOT analysis for the Flint Small Business Initiative, I'm going to try to identify some things that I think we can actually build upon. We can build upon our 4-year history of successful entrepreneurship training programs. We can build upon our relationship with city administration at Flint. We can build upon our fiscal solvency. So when I talk about our 4-year history as a successful training program, I'm addressing the fact that we have won a competitive bid 4 consecutive years in a row against other people trying to run our program. We won it hands down every time. I can also say, as a strength, something that we can build upon is we're now in our second mayor. We started off with Karen Weaver's administration, and we were awarded again the same contract with the new administration because they liked the success that we were offering in the marketplace. So that's an easy pitch. I can go and tell someone the reason that we're doing great work, the reason that we're here in the city of Flint is because we're in partnership or collaboration with the city of Flint. The other part is that you have to be financially solvent. You have to have the capacity to pre-fund the entire program and wait for reimbursements. There are not many people on the ground here who can actually do that. Pre-fund a whole calendar year of programming and wait for the city to reimburse you. So that's a strong situation for us to actually be in. Now, let me make a correction for the young lady. She uses a different format of the SWOT analysis, but for those of us who have at least 20 plus years in this world, a SWOT starts with internal opportunities all at the very top of the matrix, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, just like it's spelled out. It's not this way. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The lower quadrants speak to the things that are external. The top quadrants speak to the things that you have direct control over. What's one of our weaknesses? Capacity. Capacity is a huge weakness. Why is it a weakness? Because when we market to people in the marketplace and we find out of all their immediate needs, we as a team of 3 or 4 cannot service everybody, right? So capacity is a challenge. In addition to that, another weakness is limited funding. Funding is limited to low to moderate income people only. As a result, it limits who we can support in the city of Flint. So there are a lot of people who have a need. The funding from the program, because it's funded by the city of Flint and because it's government money, can only cover low to moderate people. That's a challenge. So if somebody walks off the street and says to me, I own a used car lot and I need somebody to help me write a business plan, can they come through the program? No. Why? Because they don't meet the low to moderate income, more than likely. If a person comes off the street and says, I own a hair salon, I have to ask them their income. I have to dig into their personal business to find out whether or not I can help them. And you'll understand why it's a weakness, and it's really fed by the threats in the marketplace. Again, these are internal things. Funding is limited. We have a fully funded program. I can write the whole budget. I'll pre-fund it, roll the whole thing. They'll reimburse me. That's a great situation. But because I'm limited to who I can service, I can see that there's going to be some challenges. In addition to that, another one of our weaknesses is the frequency of programming. We're only able to conduct two cohorts in a calendar year. 2, that's it. Because the level of wraparound services that is required, the level of dig through that's required, the level of me investigating your next steps and making sure that I have funding to support those next steps limits my capacity to do more than 2 programs in a year. Can you guys do the same type of thing based on what I just showed you about internal differences, strengths and weaknesses? Can you map your own space like that? What your strengths are from a business perspective? From a business perspective. This is not about my friends like me. I'm very stylish. I have a lot of people who, want to buy my products because they say it. So that's not a strength or a weakness. We might be able to plot it. So here are some opportunities. Because I'm aware, I always want to link my opportunities to my weaknesses. Even though they're external, I'm looking for new market opportunities. One of the first things I can do, because I have a capacity challenge, is to partner with other organizations. Even those who I might consider my competition. So let me review who my competition is in the marketplace. The Small Business Development Center, or the SBDC, the 100K program, the Flint Development Center. There's a program running by U of M over at Sylvester Broom. There's the E-Team out of the Flint Genesee Chamber of Commerce. So how do I play fair and play well with all those people when I have a capacity challenge? The difference is none of them are funded to do what we do, which is legally register your business, help you get funding, help you do business development, help to procure your inventory or pay an advisor. So see, they can do all the things on the outside of what we do, and then they can feed people into our program. Have we solidified that? No, we haven't. We don't play well together. Most of us just don't play well together. But it is a potential opportunity. We've done 3 events over the last 2 years with 100K. We've done a couple events with 100K. We've done nothing. We've done 1 event with U of M Flint out of the Sylvester Broom program, but we've not done a whole lot. So this is an opportunity that needs to be shored up. Like the young lady said, opportunities are things you should be working on and trying to change. So I can get rid of this capacity thing. I'm trying to make this go away, right? I want to sort of make this problem go away. Now, my next weakness is funding is limited to a low to moderate income group of people. If I want to service more people and I want to service people off the street, what should I do? What's another opportunity for me? What is the next opportunity? Well, if funding is limited to the city of Flint, I need to find another funding source. What's the other funding source? I found Michigan Women Forward and others. I need to seek opportunities with other people who are sort of like doing what I do, but again, there's room as a differentiation. My process, my program is a little bit different than theirs. So I'm looking for the Michigan Women Forward to provide me some additional funding to run the program. That's an opportunity, right? Because what happens if the city of Flint income go away? The program collapses, right? If Flint goes away, there is no program anymore. But by having Michigan Women Forward and partnering through other entrepreneurial groups, I'm able to make sure that through this opportunity, I can maybe solidify and maintain some of the density in the work that we're actually doing. I don't even know that I want to change the frequency. For me to change the frequency would mean I'd have to hire more people. So as an opportunity, I could hire more people. The difference is I only want the best ones. I don't want to hire just anybody. At 100K, they have only 2 people out of 7 people who can probably do what Rodney and I can do. And I would say they could probably do. You hear me, Rodney? They're not as good as us.
Okay.
I mean, we are MBA, meaning our masters in business administration and our multiple years of experience. See, I address the fact that I have a 4-year program in the city of Flint, but beyond the city of Flint, Rodney are old heads. We got over 20 plus years of experience doing what we do. They have millennials running the 100K program, which means they don't have my experience. So hands down, we can slap them on, a couple sides, this side, that side. They don't know what we know. So as an opportunity, we can hire more people. The people at 100K are practicing on every client who comes in the door because none of them have experience. They're doing research and writing programs and writing reports telling you what your next steps are, but none of them have been where you're trying to go. That is hands down the reason that we can be more successful. And I don't want to mire that. I don't want to change or dilute that value. You understand? When somebody comes to the Flint Small Business Initiative, we're able to say to them, we're the best ones sitting at the table. Bring us your competition. No problem. No problem at all. None whatsoever. Rodney can tell you, how long you been in the insurance business, Rodney?
A little over 20 years.
How old is that MBA you hold? It's got gray hair.
Yeah, it's got gray hair.
It's got gray hair. We've been on the business side of things as practitioners for a long, long time. And what's really interesting is I can smell it. I can smell new stuff when I hear it. I can hear people trying to learn and practice on other people's process, but we're not concerned. But what's the major threat? The major threat for the Flint Small Business Program is visibility. I am competing against the 100K, who's backed by the state of Michigan, who's backed by Kettering University. Their visibility. The SBDC is a federally funded United States nationwide program. Visibility. What's my other threat? New entrants into the market. There's a new company coming up from Kentucky University, offering a new program called the Launch It program. Brand new program, and they've decided they want to work right beside 100K. Can the Flint Small Business Initiative, what do we look like? We look like a small little pebble in the whole sea compared to universities coming to the marketplace. You understand what I'm saying? Any questions? I know my handwriting is atrocious. I know this. My students at school always told me that I have the suckiest home, and everybody in my Detroit office and my Flint office, if I write it down, they were like, please don't write it. Can you type it? Because we can't see. We don't know nothing about what you're doing over here. So I understand. I apologize in advance. I tried to write big so it would make it a little easier. But the new entrants coming into the marketplace may not be like 100K, where everybody is brand new with no real work experience. They may come as former business owners doing what I'm doing. Now that changes the thing, right? If you got people who own other businesses and serial businesses, and they could potentially put me in a situation where we don't look so important, right? That would be like me competing against Shark Tank. You guys familiar with Shark Tank? Mm-hmm. I hope all of you say yes, you're familiar with Shark Tank. Not, look it up. If those new entrants come into our market, with a lot of experience and major money and major visibility, game over. Could be game over. It could very well be game over. Now, as the lady indicated, you'll always have more weaknesses because you're trying to shore the space up. Threats is what it is. So the same thing they're calling new entrants are also called competitors. Same thing as competitors, new entrants, competitors. And there are very few things that I can do other than, like she said, watch it and hopefully advocate. If I can advocate for making some changes about who's doing what's going on, then we'll be okay. But visibility, new entrants and competitors with the same capacity, the same density, funding, all that good stuff. If they come with this right here, they can wipe me out. They come with that level of experience. Who would say, let me go to the Flint Small Business Initiative when Kettering University is saying we're offering a training program with MBA students. Nobody pays attention to their MBA practicing students. They're not MBA'd, they're practicing students with no work experience. They just say Kettering University with MBA students. Now, if the school from Kentucky comes up here and they are professors from the School of Business, you know, I might have to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them and see if I can't partner with them in some capacity. So you guys understand SWOT analysis a little bit?
Yeah.
Brenda and Devontae, we talked about that in our discovery meetings. We didn't, or I didn't jot it down the way that she did it right there, but everything that you answered for me, I could have done exactly what she did based on the answers that you gave me. Especially a big piece that I like to focus on is the opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And with Brenda, you talked about some competitors that you have, one being Bedrock Event Planners. And you said that there's one other one in Flint. We're going to look into some other avenues or some other competitors that you have so we know how to position you to be successful. And Devontae, your main competitors with the tire store, with the location that you have, we talked about, and I found out the name of the one I just couldn't remember the name of when we spoke. It's Larry D's on North Saginaw. Then I told you about the Middle Eastern gentleman that opened one on Dort Highway. That's probably less than a mile from you. And I know the dad for the third one that I mentioned on Flint Park in Saginaw Street. I know the dad, his name is Billy, but I can't remember the name of the business. So we've got some competition going forward, but we're going to be okay.
Oh yeah.
So,
but yeah, don't just like Laura mentioned, you don't need a business degree to be good at this. So don't let SWOT analysis and some other acronyms and the way these different assignments are laid out, don't be intimidated. You're going to be okay.
Right, which is why we're here. That's what we're here for. We know what you need to discover, and we can change the lingo and slim it down so that it's bite-sized and executable. Executable. What's really great, let me just give you a real quick byline. The clients, when I first started my business, were million and billion dollar clients. But the frequency, check this out, that first question that I gave you about your products and services, how frequently were they going to pay for best practices consulting services to come into an existing manufacturing firm or into an existing service-based business and consult them? They had already hired the talent that they needed. So though I was prepared to work with million and billion dollar clients, they weren't immediately my clientele. Why? Because they could hire people like me. They were on their payroll already. So I had to take those transferable talents and skill sets after being a regional manager, working in transportation for over 20 years. I had to take that senior leadership experience and try to figure out how to bottle it and make it useful. So what I found out was that the entry level businesses weren't the ones I wanted to work with so much, because they were still trying to flesh out if they should be in business. You know, I'm dreaming about something, and they weren't all that business savvy. But worse, they didn't have timelines. Worse, they didn't have the capacity to pay me at my dollar rate for the work that I could deliver for them. But I learned that there were programs through economic development organizations that would pay for my level of expertise to help raise up people who weren't on the bottom level of learning their craft, but they were, you know, more invested, more energy, more time, more resources. You know, Devontae is out there doing the thing. Brenda is doing the thing. Tanisha's already researched and she's going through the beta testing and all that good stuff. Same thing for Laverne. I recognize that if people were already activated, it was easy for me to take that my skill set and wrap it around them and help to elevate them. So I learned where we should participate in the marketplace. So though I can service million and billion dollar clients, they weren't paying me. They, you know, the frequency wasn't enough. Even though I could bill them at $15,000 and $20,000 for a consulting job, I may get 2 or 3 a year. I can't eat off that. Plus, I can't hire anybody with that. I needed something and I had to pivot and transition. Rodney and I we're going to be your eyes and your ears. You'll be your conscience. You'll be your capacity, your dream, and your heart. But it's our job to fact check it and to help ward off barriers where we see there are opportunities for you to actually maximize. So everybody on this call has the capacity to do a really great thing. And I'm mad about it that we only got 3 students in the class tonight, Rodney, or this morning. Mad about it. This is one of the most important sessions because it helps to build the bridge for everything else that we do. It really helps to build the bridge, and it is extremely complicated to play catch up. Plus, I don't have the motivation to play catch up. Just for the record.
I'm fine with my 2 here because what they don't realize is the position I'm in. I don't have a background. I don't know a whole lot about event planning or tire stores.
But you know,
so I've got to do a lot of research.
That's right. Right.
I've got to do a lot of research before I can come back to you all with ideas. And speaking with Laura, and I have to say, Laura, does this make sense? She likes, Brenda wants to do this, she wants to do that. I think she should do this or do that. Then I take it to Laura. And then we bounce it back and forth and then present it to Brenda before we can move forward. So it's a lot of work. And
it's a lot of work. A whole lot of work. And Rodney is absolutely right. I think, but what's so good about the fact is, even though he has to do the research, he has a business mind. What makes sense is what we're going to be able to explore and talk about that collectively together, right? And I'm very interested in hearing what next steps look like for each of you. That's, I mean, that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that we deliver the bacon. At the end of the day, we want people to be fed. We got to get you what you need to move it on. So you have in your book, which you don't have. I'm here until about 12:30. We'll be concluding our class in about 16 minutes, something like that. I'm going to stay here till probably 12:30. If you can swing by the office today, pick up your books, because your book will help you sort of weather the storm. I know Miss Brenda has hers. Tanisha didn't get hers. Devontae has his. So Tanisha, you're the only one who needs to get a book on this call, since nobody else is on the line. From none of my people are on the line, Rodney. I don't know how to feel about that, but there's this new process that was mapped out in helping you to write a business plan, and it's called the Business Model Canvas. It comes without the questions, and in your book, you don't even have these questions. I'll send the slide to you. So I took it upon myself to write the questions in every category. And what's really interesting is the way they splice it up about how you're supposed to factually design your business. I'm going to take just a few minutes walking through these different tiles to elaborate on the business model canvas, and then I'm going to give you your new homework assignment. And then I'll wait to see if Tanisha can get here and get this book before I leave here.
Yeah, I'll probably
She's the only one I think on the call who needs it. And all the books are here. So if you guys need to connect with Caleb after, so be it. So if you can look at my screen from this business model canvas, the very first thing, you may have been able to pick up on this in your homework. I asked you to not tell me why you thought your products or services were important. I wanted to know what the market called for. And then, and the way I worded it in your book was, or on your homework assignment was, hold on. The question is, what problem are you solving and what makes your customers buy from you? The actual legitimate term for that is called value proposition. Without calling it a value proposition, it breaks down to, why are we buying products from you? Why are you the person that we should buy products from? I heard from Devontae something extremely interesting. He identified the sense of urgency on demand is a huge value proposition. I need to provide on demand, urgent products or services to the marketplace, because when people call me, they're in crisis mode already. Nobody's calling me because they're planning on having a blowout. Nobody's calling me because they're planning on having their car not start. Nobody's calling me because they know they're gonna lock themselves out, and I'm gonna lock myself out. I need to call Devontae just in case I might lock myself out. It doesn't work that way. Value proposition addresses why people make the move. Why are they coming to you in particular? So we asked, what are you offering? That's again, your products and services. We asked, why or how are they meeting the needs of your customers? And you should be able to explain that. You've already told me the products and services. You got to go back and shore up some of the things. And then why you and not someone else? Why Tanisha scrubs? Why Brenda's linens or accessories? Why Devontae's roadside assistance or tire service? Once we know that part, and you started this in your homework from last week, you've already completed one tile already. One tile of your business plan is already done. If you go back and flesh that out some more. Tile number 2, when we talk about customer segments, my question is, well, who are you targeting? Tanisha told me doctors' offices and anybody in the healthcare field who know they want, a professional uniform look. She's got you. So she's looking for people in the healthcare field predominantly who want a professional look, or for those who work in the field who want a variety of accessories and products, from masks to bonnets to uniform. She told me who she's targeting. She knows if it's a he or a she for the most part. What is the major problem? Selection, diversity in selection, utility in selection. People want their scrubs to match their masks, since masks are now, at least for the next year, something that's going to be a hot commodity until we can get vaccination. People got to cover up. People got to cover up. Which customers are you servicing in your business? That specifically is a little bit more complicated because you need demographic information. Which customers are you servicing in your business? That's something you're going to circle and come back to a little bit later, because I need you to put, have you guys heard of avatar? I'm sure you all have heard of the word avatar. I kind of want you to start off with a mannequin's face, and then I want you to dress it so you can see who that person is. Is this person degreed? How much money does this person have? Where does this person live? Who is this person? Do they own a car? Who is this person? Who or which customers are you servicing? This digs into what we call demographics. This digs into demographics, and it is necessary. It is absolutely necessary, but I will say this. When I went to school and studied, I was told that prestigious products were intended for the rich and famous, or for people who aspire to be rich and famous. I have recently learned, and I think there's going to be a whole lot of case studies in the next maybe 30, 50 years around why that no longer is a real allocation in the demographic space. Let me explain why. When I can drive by a bus stop and see people holding an iPhone, how you that $1,500 phone or $1,200 phone in your hand and you don't have transportation? Is the iPhone now a prestigious product, or has it fallen? Or has the barrier entry changed so drastically that even broke folk can afford a $1,500 plan, iPhone? How do people who don't have transportation, who live paycheck to paycheck, maybe one paycheck away from being homeless, have an iPhone? How did that happen? What is that all about? How do people who have government subsidized paychecks have brand new cars? Well, there's something in it. It's called financing. The financing world has changed things. You can go to T-Mobile, or you can go to Cricket, or you can go to Verizon, and you can lease that iPhone and not pay $1,500, or you could fund it for 5 years because they want you to have that new device in your hand, and they'll give it to you. You can go and get a leased vehicle, and instead of it being a 2-year or 3-year lease, it might be a 5-year lease. And now you can afford to buy a new car, where before you couldn't do that. We're not as conservative around financing and criteria, where it has already shifted that avatar. It has shifted the avatar. I was looking at a woman over here by the bus terminal, right down the street from the office, with a Dooney and Burke bag. And I was like, I think I saw that for $325. That's $325. That bag is $325. Why is she standing at the bus stop with $325? Because you can finance it on a credit card. See, so the market is moving and changing so swiftly that even if you live in the city of Flint, where the average household income is less than $36,000 for a family of more than 3, in the city of Flint, Devontae said they want instant service and they are willing to pay for it. So that would make me say to Devontae, which customers are you servicing? He would say anybody who's got someplace to be. They may be college bound, they may be career oriented, they could be school teachers or pastors. They could be even unemployed, because if they've got some source of access to capital, they will spend that money. They will spend that money because they got someplace to be.
I could actually tell you like exactly like what they say. Like they like when I'm getting ready, like a lot of them recently, a lot of people, like when I'm like about to help them out, like give them a price, a lot of them just be like, it don't matter. They just be like, it don't matter, long as it ain't like too like like a exaggerated amount of money. Like
Right.
they just want to, like, get on with their day and handle their business and stuff. That's exactly what they've been saying.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
see that instant gratification or instant delivery of service means that Devontae probably has to be able to take credit cards or swipe something, right, Devontae? Do they all pull out wads of cash and pay you, or do you got to swipe something?
I have to. I don't have swipe yet. They pay me through checks and cash right now.
Check that out. They can even still get it without borrowing money. If they're paying through cash and checks, that means they have access to the money, which also tells me something. People who have access to the money probably are not the broker of the broke. People who typically make all their transactions on credit cards are the ones who get caught up in that borrow today, pay later world. So you've got to really put those avatars together. You business owners have to understand who the people are who are going to buy or need what it is that you have. All right, the next one is channels. How do they reach you? When I asked you the significant qualifiers about whether or not it's physical, can they get it online? When I asked you those questions in that worksheet, I'm asking you about your channels without calling them channels. So it's how do people access your product? And then ultimately, how do you stay engaged and how do you communicate with them? That's something you're going to have to go back to. Now, we're in an area where we didn't really get a chance to talk about this yet. This is a new spot. Number 4, customer relationships. What relationships have you established to connect to your customer? how do you get and how do you keep that customer? So Devontae has a simple solution because he's part of a vendor network. Brenda could easily have that connection by working through funeral homes. Right now, she's seeing a good line of business on the bereavement grievance side. So if she had an ear to every funeral service there is out there in the city of Flint, and people are doing repasts and they want one little spot or place and they want to sort of like dress it up and make it memorable. Even because today people are doing funerals how? Have you seen the new method of doing a funeral? What's the new method?
They're doing a lot of them just like we're doing now by video.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So they want to see it being dressed up. They want it to look appealing, right? And if that's the case, and I'm watching from my home because I'm down in Georgia and I can't get in the car and ride on up to North to be with y'all up in the North, they want it to look right.
Right.
And this new method is allowing her to have a new clientele. So she can reach out through all the churches, all the pastors who still officiate the funerals. She can still talk to all the funeral directors and the funeral homes. That's how she can establish those relationships. Tanisha can do the same thing, start reaching out by social media, through brochures, just telling people coming soon with some imaging of what type of scrub packages she'll have, from bonnet to mask to the nurse gown or the nurse uniform. On to the next one. We need to understand your revenue stream. Though it's at the bottom, it is extremely important. What do they want to pay? Meaning you understand what the market will bear. And then how do they pay you for it? Devontae says right now they're paying only cash and checks. So he really needs to look at merchant services, because if they can swipe that before he does a roadside, okay, it's $75 for me to roll out to you. Here's my Cash App identifier. Go ahead and do your thing. Oh, I got it. I'm on my way. Right? How they pay you matters. Brenda, how do they pay you? Are you only cash and maybe a check?
Right now, I've done just cash and check, and some have partially paid through Cash App.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had my Cash App set up to where that I send them my Cash App. They could pay half before the event and the other half at the time of the event.
There we go. That way you don't lose any business. So those methods of payment are extremely important. Tanisha, that's something that you're going to have to work out down the line, but it's something you're going to have to pay attention to. So the next quadrant is key resources. Pay attention to this, please. One of my greatest challenges listening to most of you is staffing. Not Tanisha. Well, I shouldn't say most of you. Not Tanisha and not Brenda right away. But it could be Brenda if more than one repass is happening at the same time, because you got Warren, I was going to say Warren Moon. Oh my God. You got Larry Moon Funeral Home. You've got the Banks brothers have theirs going on. And who else is there that moved up here? You got Swanson up here. You can have
Swanson is no longer a part of the funeral home services in Flint, Michigan.
No, okay, I'm sorry about that. But you got a variety of them all that could be having a repass all at the same time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a labor challenge. So when I talk about key resources, what's a key resource? What do I need in order to protect my value proposition? Well, that means Brenda might have to deploy a team of people to go and do some setups in other places. Right. Because if it's all happening at 10 o'clock at the same time, I hold on. It's only one Brenda, unless she figured out how to multiply herself. A key resource for her is having inventory on hand, meaning she's already got the linens, having the decor, and having the labor. Those are key resources. Devontae's immediate challenge is, hello, ring, ring. It's an ice storm out here. We done all, we got challenges. And I done tore up my tire. I'm gonna need you. Come and get me. I done rolled over some stuff. he can only handle so many calls because he's the unit. He is the unit. What happens when you have multiple calls all at one time? Because that can actually happen. And you got to run a tire shop. Labor is a key resource. That's something you got to work on.
Yeah. A big thing with Brenda too is you may be staffed fine for COVID, but when we come out of this, people are going to be jumping together to do events, weddings.
Right, they all want to get together. You're right, Rodney.
Yep.
They planning parties right now for next year. Yeah, because they're sick of being alienated and sheltered. You know, they want out. People want out. You know, I'm looking at my brothers and my siblings planning Thanksgiving. I've already told them all I won't be there because none of you stay within a bubble. You all are out doing your things with your friends and your families and your booze, and I can't be there because I don't know who you've been around. So no, I'm not coming. But once this COVID thing is over, people are going to be doing some engagements, including Laura, as soon as I can. I'm ready for a vacation. So who are my key partners? Who do I need to consider to bring all of these things to fruition? You guys need to know that. You got to delve into that. And that's where Rodney, since I'm only talking to Rodney's people, this is where you can dig into that. And then key activities goes back to your SWOT analysis. Your key activities goes back to SWOT analysis. So look at how we brought everything that we reviewed today full circle. We asked you to design your products and services, the significant qualifiers and why people buy from you. Then we addressed the SWOT analysis. Then we just got finished plugging all those same discoveries into what is called the business model canvas. So we have touched everything on here with the exception of your cost structure. And that's something that will happen as we move forward. If Devontae is getting calls from an all-state line, that means he's probably got a fixed cost already in there. It's a vouchered service, so there's no negotiation. So if people call him directly and they're adding ad hoc this, and this, well, that cost structure is a little bit different. Same thing for Brenda, same thing for Tanisha. It depends on where and how they engage you, and then the expansion of that product line or service line will dictate what that cost structure is. But more importantly than any of it is, what does it cost you to provide the service? A lot of people try to start with designing their price structure without understanding their cost structure. What does it cost me to bring all this work that I'm trying to do to fruition? All right, so we've gone through the business model canvas. I have the questions. I'll email this to you. Looks like I lost Caleb some time ago. I will get this to Rodney.
Why?
I couldn't see you.
That doesn't mean I was here.
No, I mean, I didn't see your block because I'm not looking at. I'm sorry. I would get this to Caleb. And Devontae, stop laughing at me. I would get this to Caleb, and Caleb will, and Rodney, and he will get it. They will get it out to you all. And then your homework, when you get the book, is extremely tedious. So you will need some help. Other than the fact that you have to plot your own strengths and weaknesses, I am ready for you to start digging into things called the general market data. I'll show that on the screen really quickly. And it's in your book. And it'll take some time to actually flesh this out. Oh, and by the way, that Saturday after Thanksgiving, there will be no class. Just make a note of that. All right. General market data. You already told me.
Biden is president.
What'd you say, Caleb? Oh,
Biden is president.
Yep, I just got that message too.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Been a long time coming. I needed some good news.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just recorded that. I just recorded my fat arms flying in the air. Oh my God. Anyway, shut up, Rodney. Your homework is to do the general market data. How is your product classified? So check this out, Tanisha. How is your product classified? Can you tell me how your product is classified?
As apparel? Is that what?
Yeah, it is. But your apparel is under you know that you will from now on be known as a manufacturing company. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, it ain't even about apparel.
No.
You're actually going to be classified as a manufacturing apparel company. But first and foremost, manufacturing. And it has more to do with your sourcing, more to do with your sourcing. If you're wholesaling for retailing, all that. If you're cutting and sewing and you own all that work, all that matters. When you start doing your general market analysis with Warren, you'll dig into that. Brenda, how is your product actually classified? Do you know?
The product itself, or what I would say event planning, but the product itself is linen and decor.
Right. So because what you're offering falls under the entertainment and arts and service, you are a very broad space. So you're going to find that your NAICS codes are going to be very different. As you tell me how your products are classified, then you'll do a search with Rodney on doing the NAICS codes. If you need some help with that, I'll definitely help you, Rodney. I can
done it
ask,
before.
okay, so who are your top performers in the general market? This goes back to you tying those competitors in. And then I'm going to ask you, what is your market strategy? How far will the customer willingly travel to come and get what you have? Who are the people in the corresponding zip codes in your intended area of interest? You know, who do you get to connect with? Is it just Flint, or is it the greater Genesee County area? I need to know that. Same thing for what Devontae is doing. So demographics, where does this customer client currently purchase the services right now? None of you are offering anything that's brand new in the marketplace. So we need to currently know who are they sourcing this stuff from already. So we can go back and review the pricing. We can go back and assess how we enter, if we're coming in under, over, or at the market. How old is this customer? What's the age group? Are they old folk? I'm not in the baby boomers. I'm a Gen Xer. Are they a Gen Y? Are they all these other new categories? And then I want you to break down by percentages. You know, this percentage of my business will come from Gen Xers. This percentage of my business will come from baby boomers. This percentage is, some of this is somewhat hard to actually glean, but we'll do our best guess at that as we also look at their income brackets. I can help you with some research on that piece. We've got some access to some great programs that'll tell us that. And is there an opportunity to poll the market with the pitch and capture? Meaning you're probably going to go onto social media and put out some type of poll asking people just blanket questions without asking their name. You're going to say, you know, can you plug your zip code in? Can you tell me the frequency that you purchase these scrubs? Can you tell me the frequency in which you plan to do events? Can you tell me the frequency in which you had to purchase emergency services, things like that? So I'm running over on my time. I want to be done by 11:35 and it's 2 minutes over. So this is your homework. It's in your book. So Brenda will have hers from Rodney, and Tanisha, I'm here. Come on by the office, 336.
Right now.
All right, 336 West First Street. I am here. Come on, get this book. And you got your homework for next week. Rodney, you got anything?
Just to Brenda and Devontae, just to let you two know, I haven't spoken yet with Laura. Like I told you I would. Friday just got to be busy. Just keep in mind we've got businesses too. So I'm going to try to speak with her as early as possible Monday, and then I'm going to call you two Monday evening to set a time for us to do another lengthy discussion, and then we'll go from there, just to let you know where we are right now.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Monday is a horrible day for me, Rodney, so far.
Is it?
Yeah, Tuesday early AM is the best. I'm booked until 6 o'clock on Tuesday. But I have
Okay, so
8,
early,
9,
yes.
10, 11.
I
11.
will call you about 8.
Excellent. Excellent. Then, okay, great. So let's plan on Tuesday at 8. Oh my
Okay.
God. Well, I didn't have a lot of people in my class. I'm really mad about it. That's okay. I'll get over it. My feelings are hurt. But they got a lot of catch up to do. There's a lot of stuff we covered. It's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff we covered. And you need to be able to do it in bite sizes. When you have to do all that work all at once is when people start to fall off. So until next week, you all.
All right.
All right. Talk to you all later.
Yeah, see ya.